Imagine this, the iron-fisted leader of Russia, staring down the barrel of his own crumbling empire, points the finger at his most loyal servant and says, "You're done." Not in a backroom whisper, but in a move so bold it sends shockwaves through global halls of power. That's the buzz right now inside the walls of the Kremlin. Russia's foreign minister, a man who's danced this deadly diplomatic tango for over 2 decades, is facing whispers of being unceremoniously booted from the inner circle. But here's the real kicker. This isn't just office drama. It's the first crack in a facade that's held for years, and it could unravel everything from oil pipelines to peace talks. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll see why these mounting rumors might just tip the scales in a conflict that's already cost billions and countless lives. Let's dive in. So, what lit the fuse on this explosive speculation? It all traces back to one phone call that never quite connected the dots. Picture the scene. Tensions are sky high after years of grinding conflict in Eastern Europe. Russia's president reaches out to his American counterpart, hoping to broker a deal that could ease the stranglehold of sanctions choking his economy. But the line goes dead, not literally, but figuratively. No breakthrough, no handshakes, just radio silence. Enter Russia's top envoy, the guy who's supposed to smooth these ruffled feathers. He steps up with a bold list of terms: hand over key territories, slash military spending in the region, and lock out any future alliances that could box Russia in. Sounds like a negotiation starter, right? Wrong. From the other side of the Atlantic, it landed like a surrender demand wrapped in velvet. "We want peace," they said back, "but not on these terms." And just like that, the door slammed shut. Now pause for a second. Have you ever been in a high-stakes meeting where one wrong word tanks the whole deal? Multiply that by 1,000, add nukes and natural gas, and you've got this mess. What makes it worse? The fallout hit Russia's wallet harder than a winter freeze. Exports plummeted. We're talking a gut-wrenching drop in energy shipments that fund half the Kremlin's war machine. Intelligence reports from across the pond confirm it. Those sanctions aren't just paper tigers, they're biting deep, forcing factories to idle and shelves to empty. But let's not gloss over the human side. Families in frozen Siberian towns are scraping by as prices soar. Pension checks that barely covered bread last year, now they're a joke. And the bigwigs, they're scrambling, pointing fingers like kids in a sandbox fight. It's the weak links, the state media whispers. The system's got holes big enough to drive a tank through. Sound familiar? It's the oldest trick in the authoritarian playbook. When the ship starts sinking, toss a few rats on the board to keep the crew in line. Is this just hot air or the start of something bigger? All right, back to the man at the center of the storm. This diplomat has been the face of Russia's foreign policy since the early 2000s, navigating everything from trade spats to full-blown standoffs. Loyal to a fault, he's the guy who could stare down a room of skeptics and make them question their own notes. But loyalty only goes so far when results dry up. Word from inside the red walls? He got yanked from a major international gathering, the kind where world leaders swap stories over caviar, and ghosted from a critical strategy huddle. Why? Insiders whisper he pushed too hard, too far. No room for wiggle in those demands, no olive branch extended. In a game where compromise is currency, he played all in and busted. But dig deeper, and this isn't isolated. The Kremlin's on a purge spree. Dissenters from all sides, the peaceniks calling for talks, the hardliners yelling for more firepower, they're vanishing into the night. It's paranoia dialed to 11. Arrest the bloggers who say the strategy's flawed, silence the suits who can't deliver the wins. Why? Because the numbers don't lie. Loss-making businesses? Up to 1/3 of the economy now, bleeding cash faster than a punctured pipeline. Freight hauling goods across the vast motherland, forecast to nosedive by 6%. And that bill floating around to cap price hikes on basics? Noble idea, but experts warn it'll just spark black markets and bare shelves. Think breadlines from the bad old days. Value bomb here. If you're tracking global markets, watch Russia's energy sector like a hawk. One diplomat sidelined might mean stalled talks, which means prolonged pain at the pump for all of us. But on the flip side, it could force a rethink, maybe even a pivot toward real dialogue. History's full of these tipping points. Remember when a single advisor's ouster led to détente in the Cold War? Coincidence or calculated chaos? What do you reckon? Share your historical parallel in the comments if you've got one. Let's break it down simply. Here's a quick rundown of the economic body blows landing right now. Oil exports tanked, down sharply after fresh penalties. That's billions in lost revenue straight to the war effort's gut. Business failures spike, 30% of companies in the red, dragging growth into negative territory. Everyday squeeze, pensions eroding, markups eyed for cuts, but at what cost to supply chains? These aren't just stats, they're signals. The machine's grinding gears and someone's got to take the fall. Which of these hits you the hardest, the energy crunch or the street-level struggles? Let me know. Now zoom out. This isn't about one guy's potential pink slip. It's a symptom of a system buckling under its own weight. Russia's been betting big on isolation, fortify borders, flex resources, outlast the critics. But what if the bet's souring? That failed summit wasn't just awkward, it was a mirror reflecting back a leader cornered by his own ambitions. Think of it like a high-stakes poker game. You've bluffed your way to the table, stacked chips with oil and alliances, but the river card flips and suddenly your hand's exposed. Do you fold, double down, or sacrifice a pawn? That's the Kremlin's dilemma. Scapegoating the envoy buys time, deflects heat from the top, but time's the one resource even czars can't hoard. And the ripple effects, they're global. Energy prices yo-yo, supply chains snag, alliances shift like sand dunes. For the folks in the crossfire, those border villages caught in the artillery haze, it's not headlines, it's home. Questions swirl. Will this purge spark more internal friction, fracturing the united front? Or does it rally the faithful, doubling down on defiance? Here's where it gets juicy for us armchair strategists. Past purges like this have led to wild swings, from olive branches to iron curtains. If history's our guide, expect feints toward talks, masked by muscle flexing. But the real value, understanding these moves helps you spot patterns in your own world. Leaders under fire gonna lead, sometimes right into the fire. How does this play out in your country's politics? Spot any similar blame games lately? Hit the comments. Your insights could spark the next big discussion. One more layer. The media's role can't be ignored. State broadcasts painting a picture of weak structures and irresponsible gaps. That's code for heads will roll. It's psychological warfare, inward this time, keeping the masses pointed outward, at phantom enemies, not the empty coffers at home. What do you think? Is a surprise deal on the horizon, or are we headed for round 2 of escalation? Vote in your mind and tell me in the comments, yes to thaw or no to heat. Wrapping this up with some hard-won wisdom, in the chessboard of geopolitics, no piece is untouchable, not even the Queen's right hand. This shake-up reminds us that power's fragile, built on trust as much as tanks. For creators, investors, or just curious minds like you, the takeaway, stay vigilant. Track the whispers before they become roars. Diversify your bets, whether it's news sources or portfolios, because one wrong move ripples far. Key lessons to carry forward. Blame games backfire. Deflecting fault might save face short-term, but erodes the foundation long-haul. Economic truths bite. Sanctions aren't abstract. They hit homes, forcing leaders to adapt or crack. Diplomacy's dance. Bold demands can open doors or slam them. Balance is the secret sauce. Which lesson resonates most with you today? Drop it below. Let's build on it together. So as the dust settles in the Kremlin corridors, one burning question lingers. Who's next on the chopping block? A general who couldn't deliver the front? An oligarch hoarding the last scraps of wealth? Or, twist, could this be the catalyst for an unlikely thaw? If history repeats, the next move might shock us all. If you felt that chill down your spine, good. That's the edge of what's coming. Until next time, keep your eyes on the horizon. The game's just heating up.